Hi, and welcome to Geeks for Geeks. Today we would be doing the post contest analysis of 110. So, if you're attending this stream, quickly give me a 1. So, hi, I'm Siddharth Hazra. Currently, I'm an SD at Geeks for Geeks. Talking about my coding experience, I'm a candidate master at Code Forces, 6 star at Code Chef. So, hi Pavan, how are you? मेगा जॉबाथॉन का रिजल्ट कब आएगा? It is tentative, like it might appear on the next week. So this contest, let's talk about the feedback from my side. This contest seemed to be a fairly balanced contest, where the first contest required the understanding of basic mathematics. The next question, okay, the next question gave us an idea that we need to backtrack, and kind of it gave a hint to a data structure. The last question too gave an hint that yes, it is kind of correlated with the second question. Like if you have rigorously solved the second question, you might get a hint for the third problem. Okay, fair enough. So let's start. Okay. So from my side, server is done automatically. Move one questions are done, but not counted. Okay, is this thing happening with everyone or some more few folks? Because I really don't know. The server load might be very less compared to Jobathon. Okay, no, bro, unable to get the idea for third. Like third one has a pretty good idea to be itself. Like it has a trick. If you know that trick, then it would be easy. Okay, so let's move on to the very first problem. I would share the screen itself, and yep, we are good to go. I would go in the order that first question I would solve up this one, then I would solve up this one, then I would solve up this one. This would be the ordering that I would follow. Okay, so now you are given an array of 0, 1s, and 2s. If there is a white stone present, you need to give that and separate white. Find the minimum number of box required and black stone by pocketing it in the different. You cannot put more than k stones in a single box, and that is easy to guess. So now let me just share the screen itself. Mhm. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. So now I think this is good enough. So for those who are very excited for the second problem, I just found out that this would be the recursion tree for the for the third problem. Okay, so now let's move forward. Here you are told that you have two kind of balls. Okay, you are given balls of two kind. Okay, and I can say that they are black and white balls. Okay, let's say the black is denoted by color 0 and white is denoted by color 1. Now, what you need to do is you need to separate out the black and the white balls, okay, into boxes of size k. So you are given boxes of size k, but one box can contain only one color. One box, one color. Okay, no more than this. So now ट्रांसलेटिंग द सेम इन हिंदी वुड बी, हमें ब्लैक और वाइट बॉल दिए गए हैं, उसके बाद हमारे पास और कहीं बॉक्सेस है जिसके साइज के है, मतलब उस बॉक्स के साइज के का मतलब है हम उसमें के बॉल्स डाल सकते हैं। और एक चीज है कि लेट से एक बॉक्स का साइज 3 है, सो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि 2 ब्लैक बॉल्स हुए और 1 वाइट बॉल हुआ। एस दिस इज नॉट अलाउड। एक बॉक्स में एक ही तरह का कलर रह सकता है। Talking about the sample test case, let's take a very simple sample test case. Mhm. This color is good enough. So let's say you are given three black balls and two white balls, and the size of k is equals to 2. So what you can do is you can so this is 1, this is 2. So let's just make not more than this is required. So now I can take up one ball from this, one black ball from this, and one black ball from this. As the size of the k is 2, so the remaining number of black ball is just 1. So now I can't accommodate one more black ball because the capacity is only 2. So I need to keep it here. So now it is 0. So I'm done with the black balls. Now I have two white balls. So हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम यहाँ पे one white ball रखें and दूसरा one white ball रखें. This becomes 0. बट ये सेम चीज हम लोग यहाँ नहीं कर सकते. I can't do this in this one. Why? Because it is told that a single box can only contain color of single type. Okay. So, am I clear with the problem statement? Am I clear with some sample test case? Because the given sample test case of the question won't give us an idea of the separation thing. That is why I kind of made a sample test case of my own. So, can I have a quick 0 or 1 in the chat if I'm clear with the sample test case? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So speak in English, please. Yes, I majorly speak in English, but I translate in Hindi too for better understanding. Okay, done. Let's move forward. Okay, this idea can be easily visualized. Okay, this idea, if you try to connect it with the real life example, this can be easily, like, let's say, okay, what you can think of is black ball is equals to, let's say, male rooms, and white ball is equals to, let's say, white balls are female. Okay, let's say we have some green rooms. Okay, we have some green rooms, and those green rooms have a capacity. So let's say the moderator told us that in a single room only particular of the people of the same sex can be there. So I can simply accommodate people like that. So let's say there are three male and one female. Okay, and the capacity of the room is 2 itself. So I can accommodate two male here, one male here, but I need to take up this female. Even though I can accommodate in the second room, I need to accommodate in this. Okay, so this is how it can be visualized with a real life scenario. So now let us move forward. The idea is very much simple. What we need to do is, the very first thing is, we need to count the number of zeros and ones. Okay, so count zeros and ones. Okay, then what we need to do is the count k. Okay, so let's say we have 5 and the capacity is 2. So I would require 3 rooms. Okay, so it just tells us that हमें upper bound लेना है, that is the seal or the floor value. So we need to take the seal value of that. So we need to take the seal value of that. So count of 0 divided by the seal value of k. And same thing would happen, like this would be added. Okay, count of 1 with the seal value of this. Now, this is the solution. And if you complete the solution, you would get an AC. But for those who are intermediate, can optimize this a little bit further and make it a little bit easy on your side. How it can be made easy? As the array contains only zeros and ones. So let's say कि मेरे पास, okay, let's say I have proposed 5 girls. Okay, 3 of them said rejected me. So it just means that 2 of them said me a yes. Okay, so in the same manner, what I can do is this. I like it, it's a very simple idea. What I can do is, if I get the count of 0, then if I subtract the count of 0, it would give me the count of 1, because it is made up of only zeros and ones. So if we take out the 0 from the number of element, it would give me the count of 1. So we don't really need to count them individually. We can use this trick to count both of them. Just count one of them and subtract the other. Now, to find out the seal value, there is also a way. So in C++, we have a method known as seal, but sometimes it behaves absurdly, okay, if we are working with integers. So you can, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I would just say you that, and for better understanding of this, just be a little bit good with your mathematics basics. So what you can do is, let's say I have a number value x, and I need to divide it by k, and I want to have the seal value. This is the symbol for the seal value. Sorry for this. This is not the symbol. So this is the symbol for the seal. Okay, now. Okay, this is the symbol for seal value. Same goes for this as the floor value. To get the seal value, what we can do is we can do the integer division, but we can use something like this. Okay, and this would give you, if you do the integer division of this would give you the seal value. Okay, how? Let me show you this. Let's say you have a value like 5. Okay, and this would be k minus 1. This value would be k minus 1. Sorry for this. This value would be k minus 1. Let's say you have a value 5, and the value of k is equals to 2, x is equals to 5. So what you can really do is 5 plus 1, okay, divided by 2. This would give you what? 3, and this is the seal value. Let's take 4 plus 1 divided by 2. If you do the integer division, this would give you 2, and this is also the seal value. So by doing this, you can simply get the seal value by simply using this formula. Okay, so for finding out the seal value, we would just add k minus 1. We don't need to use any pre-implemented STL or something. For getting the count, we can just count the values of ones, and for finding out the values of zeros, we can do n minus count of 1. I should be clear with this. I would be moving forward with the implementation. As this is the first problem, how are you, sir? How is your job life? Currently, at this point, uh, it's like I'm working a lot hard, and I'm fine. Absolutely fine. I'm enjoying this life. Okay. So now just a sec. Okay. Let me implement the first one. Separate stones. So I'm a very lazy person. Would be converting this to lowercase so that I don't need to hit this shift again and again. So I would just make this as A. Okay. Fair enough. Now I would be counting the value of ones. Okay. So I can simply use a for each loop, and C plus is equals to E, because 0 won't add to C. So all the values of ones would get dumped in C. Okay. Now, okay. So the very first value would be that the count of 1 plus k minus 1 to get the seal value divided by k. This is the number of baskets or the boxes required to keep 1 to it. Okay. Then we would add the count of the boxes required to keep 0. So the value of 0 would be what? Instead of the C, the value of 0 would be n minus C. count of ones divided by the number of element would give me the count of zeros. That's absolutely easy. And then we would simply return the value of the answer, and this should work. Let me just do it. Okay, it's very pathetic. Okay, so problem solved successfully. I would copy the solution in an IDE and float you the code itself. The website seems very slow at this point. Okay, and this is done. So am I clear with the very first question? Quickly give me a one, and then I would move forward to the next question. Jaldi se one de do, or just mention the line number at which you are not able to understand, and then I would explain it, and then I would move forward. What? Garima Minocha. Can you? What are you asking for? I don't know really. Okay. Python interpreter was too slow and it was taking so long. Yep. C++ is even taking a lot of time. I can code in C++, Java, and Python. Which language will you suggest me to for such contest and why? C++ because it has a very fast execution time. It has a support for STL, and 70% of the people in such contest use C++. So I think you should consider using C++. Okay, next problem, please. Yep, sure. Let's move forward to the next problem. Remove the balls. This is also a good problem. I don't think it would require more time. I meant I understood. Okay, you don't need to write, please. Okay, chalo. Hmm. I won't really explain you the sample test case. I won't really explain you the problem statement. ये काफी easy है. I would just explain you what the problem is asking. Okay. So देखो. We are given the radius and what was given? Oops, I forgot. The radius and the color. Yeah. Okay. So we are given the radius and the consecutive colors itself in the format like the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the values would be in this format. Let's say it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, this is 3, 4. And then this is 1, 2, and then 7, 8. Okay. So the balls are kept in this fashion. Okay. Let's say like they are on top of each other. One is on top of 0, 2 is on top of, like, this is something like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this is the scenario. Okay. Now it is told that if two consecutive balls have the same color and the same radius, they would be they would be removed from them. Okay. Like हो ये रहा है ना. Let's take a very simple example. Let's say there is, like, this is this is Rahul, this is Shubham, this is Navneet, this is Ankit, and this is, let's say, Yash. Okay, fair enough. Now what happens is, let's say they all want to go to party. Okay, so Siddharth and Navneet found out that they have similar taste. Okay, and they have the similar vibe, so they would be removed from the positioning. Now, this R would come from this position to this position. Okay. Now let's say A and Y vibed along together, and they also went out. Now let's say here something like C was also there. Okay, A and Y went there and they wiped along. So now we have R and C. Okay, and they didn't vibe along. So we need to know the last two-person still not going to party, still not going. हो ये रहा है, ट्रांसलेटिंग द सेम इन हिंदी वुड बी, हो ये रहा है कंजिक्यूटिव बंदे हैं। अगर दो बंदों का माइंडसेट एक हो गया, ओके, यहाँ पे रेडियस और कलर की बात हो रही है, अगर रेडियस और कलर दो बॉल का साथ में हो गया तो वो दो बॉल रिमूव कर देंगे और सारे बॉल फिर से उसका जगह ले लेंगे। ओके, सारे बॉल कौन से डिलीट हो जाएंगे। उसके बाद लेट्स से ये दोनों बॉल भी सेम रेडियस और कलर हो गए तो ये दोनों बॉल भी वैनिश हो जाएंगे, फिर सारे बॉल आसपास आ जाएंगे। ओके, फेयर इनफ, ठीक है, चलेगा। चलो अब let's say now let's say 3 and 4 wiped along together, so they need to get out, so now they would be removed from. Now the consecutive values are 1 and 2, now they are wiping along, so they need to get out. Now if you see up this problem, I don't know how many of you have seen this, what you need to do is, okay, you need to see the last element. If the last element have the same radius and color, you need to take out the last element and you need to take, like let's say we are processing each element one by one. Okay, let's say current, the properties of the current is equal to the properties of the previous value that we have entered. So at this point what you need to do is you need to skip the current and remove the previous. मतलब लेट्स से हम लोग स्टार्टिंग से लेके सारे बंदे देख रहे हैं। लेट्स से दिस इज सिद्धार्थ, दिस इज यश, दिस इज अंकित, दिस इज लेट्स से राशि, लेट्स से दिस इज आर फॉर राशि। ओके, सो लेट्स से अंकित और राशि के वाइब एक जैसे हैं। ओके, सो ये दोनों बाहर जाएंगे। ओके, लेट्स से वी आर प्रोसेसिंग ईच पीपल वन बाय वन। सो पहले सिद्धार्थ आया, ठीक है, सिद्धार्थ के पहले कोई बंदा नहीं है। यश आया, ओके, लेट्स से यश का सारा प्रॉपर्टी सिद्धार्थ के साथ मैच कर रहा है। तो अब क्या होगा, यश करंट एलिमेंट को स्किप भी करना होगा क्योंकि ये तो अब वो एरे पे कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं करेगा, और इसे भी बाहर निकालना होगा, सिद्धार्थ को भी रिमूव करना होगा, तब जाके दिस वुड बिकम समथिंग लाइक दिस. So you need to skip the current one and remove the previous if current is equals to previous. If this is not the scenario, current को रखते जाओ. Okay. So I need to do something like, okay, I need the access of last element. Okay, I need the access of the last. And the very next need of us is that I need the removal of the last. Okay, if the properties don't really match, I need insertion at the last. So अगर लास्ट पे बहुत सारी चीजें करना रहे ना, okay, अगर लास्ट पे ही बहुत सारी चीज करने रहे ना, so remember it that the only solution that we have major is stack. Okay, so we can simply use a stack of pairs where we can simply keep radius and color. So if the current value is equal to the previous value, we would remove the previous value and skip the current one. Else we would just insert at the last. So अगर ये सारी need है and you need to do it in an optimized manner, then this is a problem of stack. And if you have already solved the problems like trapping rainwater, next greater element like this, then you would also always get a hint of these all problems. Even not, if not, then just knowing that stack works like this, you can solve this problem. So am I clear with the idea? Can I move forward with the implementation? Okay, stack is easy to use here. Okay, yep, balance parenthesis, yep. Okay, how to recognize data structure in second. This is how I told you. I never really told you that this problem is of stack, solve it using stack. Just write all of the things at this point and just keep doing it. Is it possible to do it using without extra space? I didn't really thought about it, okay, to optimize this further, because ऑनलाइन जज पे आप जितना कम सोचो स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के बारे में उतना आसान रहता है. ओके, ऑनलाइन प्रॉब्लम्स में स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के बारे में काफ़ी कम सोचना. ओके, क्योंकि काफ़ी कम फर्क पड़ता है. Is it so? देखना, if you find a solution on your own, tell me that too. So the idea is very simple. We would be making a stack of pairs and then we would be solving it. So now let us do it. Remove the balls. Again, a very lazy person here, so would be doing the same thing. So color for C, radius for R. Okay. Now I would initialize a stack of pair of int comma int and name it as st. At this point, I would start traversing the whole array one by one. Okay. So if the stack does not contain any element, अगर हमारे पास कोई एलिमेंट है ही नहीं तो पिछला कहाँ से कंपेयर करे भैया? चुपचाप जाके रख दो. दो साथ में ना रिमूव होंगे, एक पेयर रिमूव होगा ना. तो अगर एक पेयर का एक ही जूता है हमारे पास, उसे क्या ही रिमूव करना, उसे क्यों छेड़ना? जस्ट इंसर्ट इट एज इट इज. ओके. So st dot push c of I comma r of I itself. Okay. Now I would take out the last element. यहाँ पे array पे elements है, so I would take out the last element. Now I would check if the properties of the last element is equal to the properties of the current element or not. So tp dot first क्या था? Color. So tp dot first is equal to the current color और radius दोनों ही सेम होना चाहिए. So tp dot second is equal to r of I. If they both are same, okay, then I need to remove the last one and just ignore the current element. Okay. Else, if this is not the scenario, then we need to push it as we were doing if the stack is empty. हमारे पास कोई और ऑप्शन है नहीं. At the end, whatever number of values we have who were not able to pair up, we need to return the number of them, and it can be easily done by st.size. Stack का size दे दो, and that is good enough. Now let us just compile and run and see how many errors are we making. Okay. ओके, चलो हो गया. ये भी लिंक दे देता हूँ. So this is the link, request queue. We have the solution. I will just paste it. Yep. Just quickly, what you need to do is just quickly see the solution. If you are done with the solution, give me a 1. Else, just mention the line number at which you are not able to understand. If not pushed, then at last we return the stack size. Yep, absolutely. Second question is stack with pair. Yes, using index instead of pair would be sufficient. हाँ, this would be much more simpler. ये अच्छा idea है. We don't need to use pairs. Direct मेरा दिमाग में pair है, but using index instead of pairs would be a little bit simpler. Okay. Is it possible to do it without using extra space? Okay, I have replied it. Okay, डन. चलो अच्छा है. जल्दी से लाइक करो तो लाइक काउंटर बढ़ते हुए देखते हैं. more than 60 or 70 people are there currently. So like counter को आंखों देखा बढ़ते हुए देखना मजा आता है. So quickly increase the like counter. Let me just see currently. So what is the number of likes at this point? The number of likes are just 17. Quickly increase the like counter. Like you can easily cross around half a century. Okay, let us move forward. चलो कर लेते हैं. Okay, the last problem. Okay, so before we discuss the last problem, I would discuss a problem with you first. Okay, which is kind of a subset problem of this one. Do I make sense? Okay, see. Okay, chalo. See, just ignore the last problem. Okay, let's say you are given brackets of only one type. Let's say just this kind of bracket sequence. Okay, this is the first bracket sequence. This is the next bracket sequence. This is the third bracket sequence, which is an invalid one. This is the fourth bracket sequence. This is the fifth bracket sequence. Now, I want to know if this bracket sequence is a valid bracket sequence or not. Okay, so if you solve up this bracket sequence thing, the very first thing that would come to your mind is stack. Okay, if you have solved the problem of balanced parenthesis. But this problem can also be solved without stack. कैसे बताऊं? By just using one variable. By just using a variable of 0. C is equals to 0. If we encounter a co-opening bracket, we would do plus plus. If we encounter a closing bracket, we would do minus minus. At any point, if the value becomes less than 0, then we would say this is invalid. Or in the end, if the value is more than 0, we would say it is invalid. How? I would tell you that. See, opening bracket increase by 1, opening bracket increase by 1, closing bracket decrease by 1, closing bracket decrease by 1. At the end, this value is 0, so this is a valid bracket sequence. Now, let's take the next example. Okay, opening bracket 1, opening bracket 2, closing bracket 1, opening bracket 2, closing bracket 1, closing bracket 0. At the end we have 0. We didn't encounter any negative values in between, so this is also a valid bracket sequence. Let us do for 3 more, and this would start making sense how this is working. Opening bracket 1, opening bracket 2, closing bracket 1. At the end, like we didn't encounter any negative values, but at the end we don't have c is equals to 0, so this is invalid in this case. Okay, now again let's do this. Opening bracket 1, opening bracket 2, opening bracket 3. At the end we don't have 0, so we would remove that. Then we have closing bracket 0 minus 1, because if we are having closing bracket minus minus, so it is minus 1. At this point we can just simply say that this is not possible. So this is how this is working. At any point if you get negative, that means we had more number of closing bracket than the opening ones. Okay, then it would become negative. If let's say we have something like this, then if you see, this would become negative. Like c would become 1. Okay, c would become 1, c would become 2, c would become 1, c would become 0, and c would become minus 1. So if you see, minus 1 indicates, like see, till this point this was a valid bracket sequence, but this made the error, so this point we got a minus 1. So if you are told to find out if the given bracket sequence is valid or not, and it consists of only one type of brackets, then you can simply use one single variable and solve up this type of problem. So am I clear with this or not? This small idea is very needed to solve up this problem. So give me a quick yes or no. Just give me a quick yes or no. Okay. Thanks a lot, Rekha Kumari. Garima Minocha, thanks a lot. Rohan Chaudhary, thanks a lot. If C is negative, that means for closing this bracket, there is no opening bracket. Yes, absolutely. चलो, आज पवन काफी खुश है, देख रहे हैं पूरा एकदम चिल्ला रहा है स्ट्रीम पे. चलो, let's move forward. Now, here in this problem, okay, let's copy out the test cases too. The test cases, ये अच्छा है. So we are given tan 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 and closing bracket, and value of k is equals to 3, and the answer to this is 2. Okay. So now, in this problem, we are told that question mark can be replaced by opening bracket or closing bracket. Okay. But there is one more constraint to be respected. Okay. आप बाहर जाके खेल सकते हो, बट 5 बजे से पहले आना है. In the same manner, I can go out and play, but I need to respect a constraint that is given. क्या है वो constraint? The constraint is that consecutive elements k से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay? The number of consecutive elements should not be more than k. Okay? अब हो ये रहा है कि let's say we are given question mark, question mark. So the first question mark, can we convert it to an opening bracket? Can we convert it to a closing bracket? So this is not closing bracket. Then the next one, can we convert it to an opening bracket? Can we convert it to a closing bracket? Can we convert it to an opening bracket? I'm saying the correct one, but I'm drawing the wrong one. Can we convert it to a closing bracket? And the second value can be converted to an opening bracket. Here also the same thing. This can be converted to a closing bracket, and this can be converted to a opening bracket. So we can simply see that for each index of question mark, we have two options to do. Okay, and they both are kind of making a branch kind of thing. So by this only I get an idea that this problem is of recursion. The constraints are big, so I need to memorize it and solve it using DP. So this is how you should be thinking of in a contest. So at this point, now I would show you how this thing really works. What is the recursive tree for this? So what are the things that are important to me? To keep a track of this constraint. Okay, let's take a very simple example. This is me. I want to go out and play. Okay, I want to go out and play, but my mom has told me that I need to come before 5 p.m. IST. Okay, so what I would do is I would wear a watch, and at each point of time I would see and if I still have time or not, and I would play accordingly. Okay, this is what I would do. So in the same manner, what I can do is with this problem is मुझे देखते रहना होगा, जैसे हम घड़ी में देखते रह रहे हैं कि 5 बजा कि नहीं, 5 बजा कि नहीं. In the same manner, I need to see if I'm respecting the constraint of k or not. How to do that? So k is the number of consecutive characters. So एक consecutive का अगर हम लोग count ले लें and make this as 1, and एक last character बोल के एक चीज ले लें. Okay, and make this as whatever the last character. Let's say the last character is an opening bracket. Okay, अब देखो idea. So let's say we again have an opening. So let's say first character is processed, we have the next character. So if the current character we are processing is equal to the last character, then C would increase. Okay. Then let's say we have a closing bracket. Closing bracket is not equal to the last character. So C would again reset the counter to 1 and last character would become opening bracket. And we would use the same idea of remembering that are we respecting the constraint. So let us solve this problem now. See, what we can do is we don't have any solution for the first bracket. Okay, और हमें वो बैलेंस पैरेंथेसिस वाली चीज भी चाहिए. So हमें यहाँ पे एक let's say let me just see the variable names. Okay, so I would use the same count as 0. We would start off with 0. Okay, then we have the last character also. Okay, we have something like last character, and then what all we need to remember last character and the count of consecutive. So I would just say cons. Anything more, last character, count, consecutive. Okay, last character, count and consecutive. We don't really require any more things. Okay, or can anyone tell me what all things we require? And yes, we require the index. Okay, at what index we are processing, but at this point we don't really need it. Okay, so now let's start with the very first index. We don't have anything to decide. It is an opening bracket, so we would increase C is equals to 1, last character is equals to an opening bracket, number of consecutive characters is now 1. Initially the count consecutive character is 1, last character is filled up with this one, and last character can be anything, so last character is not equal to the current character, so consecutive now became 1. We move forward. At this point we again have a opening bracket, so the count would increase, so now C would become 2. Okay, the last character is equal to the current character. Last character is equal to opening bracket, current character is also equal to the opening bracket. So last, and we would see consecutive plus 1 is less than k or not. So 1 plus 1. So last character consecutive characters was 1, and now we again have one more. So 1 plus 1, 2 is less than 3. So yes, we can afford this consecutive character. So last character is equals to the opening bracket, and cons would now become 2 at this point. Okay. Now we come to the position where we have a question mark. Now, this is very interesting. If we consider this question mark to be a opening bracket, if we consider this question mark to an opening bracket, so the count would increase. So count would become 3. Last character is also equals to the opening bracket. So we would say cons plus 1 is less than k or no. So yes, 2 plus 1 is less than equal to k, and we are told k से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. So दो पहले से consecutive था, एक और opening bracket आ गया, तो 2 plus 1 3 हो गया. बट इसने कहा है 3 से ज़्यादा नहीं चाहिए, बट 3 तो कर सकते हैं ना, कर सकते हैं. So last character would still be an opening bracket. Consecutive character is now equal to 3. Up, let's come to this side. If it is a closing bracket, so the value of C would decrease. From 2, it became 1. Last character is not equal to the current character. Last character is equal to the closing bracket, opening bracket. this is equal to the closing bracket. दोनों अलग है, हमें अपने में जोड़ो. Okay, so last character is equals to the closing bracket. As the last character is not equal to the current character, so cons would become 1 at this point. Now, so question mark is also processed. Now we have the next question mark. अब देखते हैं, अब मजा आएगा. See, now the value of cons is equals to 3. So now we can also have, for this also we have two kinds. Opening bracket भी रख सकते हैं question mark के जगह, closing bracket भी रख सकते हैं. If we have opening bracket, then the value of c would increase. Opening bracket last time भी था, last character भी opening bracket है, अभी भी opening bracket है. So cons plus 1 करके देख लेंगे. So 3 plus 1 is equals to 4 और k का value ही 3 था. So we can't afford 4. So we can't really have an opening bracket. So इसको यहीं से डिस्कार्ड कर दो, ये ब्रांच आगे जा ही नहीं पाएगा. But we can have a closing bracket because that is not equal to the last character. So C, okay, let's take a very light color or something. Let's take white. बहुत दिन से white नहीं use किया. Okay, so at this point, if we have a closing bracket, the value of C would decrease. Last character is not equal to the current character. So last character would become closing bracket. And as the last character was not equal to the current character, so cons would become 1. Then we have an opening bracket, we have a closing bracket. Same this side भी वही होगा. So opening bracket अगर करेंगे तो last character is not equal to the current character, so cons would become 1. And closing bracket, opening bracket मतलब C++. So C is equals to 2, last character is equals to opening bracket, and the value of cons is now equal to 1 because last character is not equal to the current character. Okay, and इसको भी थोड़ा process कर लेते हैं. If it is a closing bracket, C would become 0. Last character is equal to the current character, so this would be again this, and cons would become 2 at this point. Okay, थोड़ा आराम से नीचे तक जा रहे हैं. You can simply take a screenshot at this point. Just take a screenshot at this point. So if we make up this tree, this would look something like this. I was drawing it myself last night. So this would look something like this. Okay, let's not see this because that is having some absolutely bad handwriting. Okay, this looks a lot cleaner. Okay, so at this point we have a closing bracket and closing. Okay, so C closing matlab minus minus. Okay, and 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I know that दो closing bracket के बाद C would become 0 and cons would become 3. So at the end, like we have no more characters to process and C became 0. Let's see this also. C would become 0 and 1 plus 2 is equals to 3, which is less than equal to 3. So यहाँ पे भी C is equals to 0 हो जाएगा. But यहाँ पे if you see 0 minus, this is what? Closing bracket. Closing bracket मतलब minus minus. So 0 minus 1 is equals to minus 1. So this is not possible. So whenever C becomes less than 0, we tell that भैया देखो शांति से पीछे बढ़ जाओ. So there were only two branches, there were only two leaves which could make it up till the finale. That is why we can say that up till this point, this is how the whole recursion tree would look like. Okay, quickly take a screenshot, analyze it. I would wait for around 1 minute or so, and then I would start the implementation of this. Okay, you just quickly tell me if I'm clear to you or not. चलो देखते हैं. has to be सोहम सर नहीं आ रहे क्या? No, at this point, I don't think Soham is still associated with GeeksforGeeks, but I don't really know. Okay, because I'm already accustomed with both the things like SD and Mentor too, so I don't really take the update of other mentors. Okay, Valentine, how are you? Okay, great, sir. I only speak English. Okay, I'm absolutely sorry. This it was the same thing, just while implementing the recursion tree to make it a little bit easy. I just said few of the things in Hindi. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Please explain the last step of recursion tree, sir. Sure. क्यों ना इसी के तो पैसे मिलते हैं. Okay, so last step would be that at this point we just got like last question mark was up till this point. Okay, ये वाला last part था. अब इसको remove करना काफी easy है undo के साथ. So last point, if we just remove the last leaf of this, see. So we are on the second last character. Okay, we are on the second last character. We are on the second last character. So this is a closing bracket. This is a closing bracket. So C minus minus. And last character is also equal to the closing bracket. So cons plus 1 is less than equal to k or not. So yes, cons is equal to 1. 1 plus 1, 2 is less than equal to k. So now C would become 1. C would become 1. Last character is equals to closing bracket. Cons would become 2. Then let's see about this also. This would be also same thing. C minus minus. So this would become 1. Last character is equals to the closing bracket. So last character is not equal to the current character, so cons would remain. Cost would be again reset to 1. यहाँ पे C minus minus would make it go -1. But as we discussed earlier, किसी भी point पे less than 0 हो जाएगा, so that is not a valid balanced parenthesis. Okay, so I would say that this thing is not valid up to this point. Now we have the very last character, which is a closing bracket. So at this point, what we can do is, so C minus minus, which is equals to 0. Last character is equals to closing bracket. Const is now equal to 3. Good enough? Here baby, minus minus closing bracket. C would become 0. Last character would become closing bracket. As the last character is equal to the current character, so const would it increased. So const is equal to 2, which is less than equal to 3. So at this point, अंत में जाके सारा प्लस माइनस होते होते अगर वैल्यू 0 आ गया, that means it is balanced. So we can say that these two are the valid branches where we have respected the constraint of k. हो गया? So am I clear with the solution now? Namya Jan, am I clear to you? Tried with the brute force, got TLE. You can't really solve it using brute force, because let's say we had only question mark. So at each step you would have two branches, and those two would have two branches. So at each level you would be having 2 to the power level. So at each level we would be having 2. So the time complexity by solving it using brute force would be 2 to the power n. So here the value of n is 2 into 10 to the power 2. So 2 into 10 to the power 2 to the power 2 into 10 to the power 2 is much greater than 10 to the power 8. So you would definitely get a TLE even before implementation. Yep, this is a good problem. Okay, cons were consecutive. Cons means consecutive. Yep. Thank you so much, Abhishek Pradhan. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's solve up this problem. This problem has a little big, like my my solution is a little bit big, but I found it intuitive, so I didn't really change it. Okay, but it is a kind of copy pasting thing. Okay, आप एक बार लिख लोगे तो बाकी you can copy paste a lot. ये भी बता दे रहा हूँ. Okay, so इसको पहले रिकर्शन से सॉल्व करेंगे, फिर प्रॉपर मेमोराइज करेंगे. कोई टेबुलेशन नहीं, कोई डीपी नहीं, डायरेक्ट टेबल राइटिंग एंड ऑल कुछ नहीं करेंगे। चलो तो करना शुरू करते हैं। So what are the things we require? We require the value of C, which would tell us the summation of opening and closing. Okay, so we would have int rec. So we have the first value of C, and then we have the index we are processing, which is I. Okay, and then the last character. So now I would just tell you that last character can be opening or closing also. Okay, we in the recursion tree we had opening or closing, but opening and closing can't be memoized easily, so we can denote that 0 is for opening bracket, 0 is for opening bracket, and 0 is for 0 is for opening bracket, and 1 is for closing bracket. And I can simply write a comment on this, just remember this. Okay, at this point I would also have cons, number of consecutive characters. अब यहाँ पे I would have all these values. Okay, so I would have int k, I would have string and s, and I would have the value as n itself. Okay, so if we have reached the very first one, at any point, if c becomes less than 0, then answer is not possible. Sorry, if the c becomes less than 0, we would return 0. भैया देखो, ये वाला तो वैलिड पैरेंथेसिस नहीं है, तो ये 0 कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा आंसर में. Okay, now I would say that if we have reached the end, अगर हम लोग लास्ट इंडेक्स पे आ गए, okay, and we found out that if c is equals to 0, okay, then we would return 1, else we would return 0 from this point. But what you can simply do to consort, it's like to just concatenate every one of them, what you can simply do is something like this. Let me just show you. So this whole thing can be replaced with something like return c is equals to 0. So if c is equals to 0, it would return 1, else it would return 0. Okay, this whole if statement, if else statement can be written up in the small bit of format so that the code would look a lot cleaner. So let's just have it on the same line. ये भी हो गया. Okay, fair enough. Now at this point, we would initialize answer is equals to 0. Okay, answer is equals to 0, and then we would say the current character is equals to -1. अब current character कैसे लेंगे? If s of I is equals to the opening bracket. If it is equals to opening bracket, current character will be equal to 0. So current character is equals to 0. Okay. If it is a closing bracket, then current character is equals to 1. Current character is equals to 1. Fair enough. Now if s of I is equal to the opening bracket. Sorry. Okay. If s of I is equal to the opening bracket, then we would first see if last character is equals to the current character, and we have some space, like the number of consecutive character is less than k. Okay, what we can do really is we can have the answer plus is equals to rec of. अगर ये opening bracket है, so the value would increase. We would go to the next index after this. Okay, the last character और अभी वाला character दोनों same है, so we can say here this is equal to current character. Okay, current character डाल दो. This is equal to current character is equal to 0. Opening bracket 0 हो जाएगा. And then we have consecutive पहले था, last character is equal to the current character, so number of consecutive values would definitely increase. So cons plus 1. Okay, cons plus 1 हो गया. And then KSM, whatever we have. Okay, if it is not equal to, last character is not equal to the current character, then everything would be same. But if it is an opening bracket, C would be, so C would increase, we would go to the next index. But now here the last this would be equal to the current character. This would be equal to current character. But यहाँ पे क्योंकि last character is not equal to the current character, so the consecutive thing would get reset to 1. Okay, the consecutive thing would get reset to 1. Okay, do I make sense? Now, else if it is, sorry, else if s of I is equal to the closing bracket, then we can just copy the same thing, but it is an opening bracket. Okay, so it is a closing bracket, so C would get decreased. C would get decreased. Okay, other than this, everything looks good. Okay, बस इतना ही लिखना था. And after this comes the condition when this is equal to question mark. Opening होगा, closing होगा, और या फिर question mark होगा. S of I is equals to a question mark variable. Okay, so first we would make current character is equals to 1. पहले current character is equals to 1 कर दो. Okay, make current character is equals to 1. Copy these all condition, paste it here. Okay, now करंट कैरेक्टर को पहले हमने ओपनिंग ब्रैकेट करके देख लिया. ओके, दिस इज इक्वल टू 1. ओके, so CC is equal to 1 at this point. No, this would, let's just make it 0. Yep, because opening bracket is equals to 0. Yes, opening bracket is equals to 0. For opening bracket, this is the code, so we have copied the code. Now let's make the opening bracket is equal, like current character is equals to closing bracket. Question mark को closing bracket बना दो. Closing bracket वाला code यहाँ पे लाके dump कर. हो गया? After this we have the answer, so we would return the value of the answer. Now it might be the scenario that I have messed up somewhere. This code is a little bit pathetic, I can say. So I would say return rec of return 0, 0, 2, 0, k, s, n, etc. At this point, I clicked the save button. Sorry, I clicked the save. So now let me just see by using recursion, can I have something or not? Okay, ये काम कर रहा है. This is working. So now let's just have this test case. If we are able to surpass this test case, compile and run. Custom input पे जाओ, यहाँ रख दो. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this value would become 6. This value would become 3. Now compile and run. We have the correct answer. So we have the correct answer using recursion. Now let us submit it and get an TLE, and then we would quickly memorize it. No, we are having a wrong answer up till this point. So let's just see where we are going wrong. This code is absolutely very pathetic. So if C is less than 0, we are returning 0. If we have reached the end, Then if C is equal to 0, then we would return 1, else we would return 0. Good enough. C is equal to current character is, anyone can spot any mistake or something? I just came on y2 at main function, because 0 1 लास्ट कैरेक्टर है तो यहाँ पे लास्ट कैरेक्टर को 2 बना दिया क्योंकि इनिशियली कोई लास्ट कैरेक्टर होगा ही नहीं. दैट इज वाई वी आर पासिंग द लास्ट कैरेक्टर एज 2. 3 4 कुछ भी पास कर दो, apart from 0 1 pass anything, that is good. Okay, so if sfi is equals to opening brackets, current character becomes 0. If sfi is equals to the closing bracket, current character becomes 1. If sfi is equals to opening bracket, last character is equal to current bracket, current is equal to character, answer plus is equals to recursion of I plus 1. Current character, what is the current character? Last character const plus 1 ksm. This is good. Now current character c plus 1 I plus 1, current character const plus 1 ksm. If it is equal to the closing bracket, c would get decreased at this point, I would get increased. I would get increased. I would get increased I plus 1, whatever the scenario is, 1 1 ksm. First we would make cc is equals to 0. Then answer plus is equals to c plus 1 I plus 1. Then we have the current character const plus 1 ksm. Else if last character is equals to the current character const is less than cc, if last character, else if, let's just have a simple else statement. If the last character is not equal to current character, okay. Okay, we have missed the else if statement everywhere. Else if last character is not equal to the current character. Else if, because it might be a case that it might be a question mark or something. Else if यहाँ भी add कर देते हैं. Last character is not equal to current character. Answer plus is equals to rec of c minus 1, c minus 1 I plus 1 1 1 ksm. Compile and run. Line 3T, why are we recursing? Sir, why are line number 24? Line number 24. If last character is equals to the current character const and we have some space for const, then we are good to go. And else, if last character is, let's say last character was a closing bracket, and now we have again a new opening bracket. So यहाँ पे तो करना ही होगा ना. And yet we have time limit exceeded at this point. It's a safe point, so we can quickly memorize it. So at this point, just find out the position where the values are changing. So values changing are C, I, L, C, and cons. Other than this, K, S, N is constant. So up till which point C can be there? If everyone is an opening bracket, then C can be equal to the value of N. Like let's say there are 5 opening brackets. The size of the string is 5. And 5 opening bracket would make it opening matlab plus plus, so the value of C would become 5. So C can at max be equal to N. So I would first write const int N is equals to 2 multiplied by 1e2 plus 5. Just make 5 more. Okay. However, from where I am taking this, 2 into the power 2. So just add 5 to it. I just have a habit of this. Just add 5, 2, 3, 1. Just have anything. Okay. And then, so I can say I can make a DP array. and C can at max be n, so I would simply say n. Then the index can range from 0 till the value of n. So I would also make this value as, I would also take an array of size n for this one. Then last character can only be 0 and 1. But to be on the safer side, I would just take one more size. That won't make a difference. I would just take a value of 3. So that while typing, if I make my logic go from 0 base to 1 based, I won't face any issue. Okay. The last thing is the value of consecutive character. This is very interesting. See, k can at max be 10. ओके सो कंसेक्यूटिव कैरेक्टर एट मैक्स कितना तक जा सकता है 10 तक ही जा सकता है बिकॉज 10 से ज्यादा कंसेक्यूटिव कैरेक्टर होगा सो हम लोग उसके आगे जाएंगे ही नहीं ओके यहाँ पे ही नहीं जाएंगे ओके that is why the consecutive character can at max be 10 but we will take 11 to be on the safer side. Just take one more, two more, three more. Just I have this habit of doing this. Okay, so that even if I change my logic that won't make a difference. Okay, now I would do memset okay of dp comma -1 comma size of dp. What is this? Set every value of dp array to -1 for those who are not from C++. And now let us memorize this also. So after the base case, just before the computation, we write something like this. If dp of जो ऊपर एकदम वही छापना है. If dp of c comma I comma lc comma constant, okay, if this value is not equal to -1, यहाँ पे -1 लगाया और यहाँ पे -1 नहीं है मतलब कुछ और वैल्यू है ओके मैं घर पे आईपैड छोड़ के गया घर आके देखा आईपैड नहीं है इसका मतलब कोई और आया था दिस इज वेरी सिंपल सो आई वुड रिटर्न this value like this has some answer to it इसके पास कुछ आंसर है तभी ये previous value के बराबर है if we are coming down that means we don't have the answer of this so just before returning I would save the answer. Now this should work. Compile and run and see. Okay, this is working at this point. I want to just submit this and see. So basically you just need to write for this and everything else is just a copy paste of this one. Okay, so this code gave me an AC last day. Okay, let me just show you. This code gave me an AC yesterday, my summation. This same code gave me an AC. By the way, what you need to do is you need to implement something like modulo. They have implemented it now. They forgot it last day. I thought that I would tell you this. So this is very easy. So you can take this as a homework. Fair enough. The solution is working. Just take this as a homework. You can just do the modular part. Just before adding a plus b whole modulo m is equals to a modulo m plus b modulo m and whole modulo m. Just implement on everyone and that's solve the purpose. So just tell me the line number at which you are not able to understand and I would make sure that I help you on this. So line number 24 for C++1 and for else, why are we recursing line number 24? Line number 24. So see, we are recursing because ऐसा हो सकता है कि last character is equals to the current character, ठीक है? और हमारे पास bandwidth है कि हम लोग और एक consecutive characters afford कर पाए. So it is an opening bracket, so C would increase and consecutive value would get increased by 1. But अगर last character is not equal to the current character, so हमें consecutive की चिंता करने की है ही नहीं क्योंकि last character तो हमारे current character से मिलता जुलता है ही नहीं तो direct consecutive का value 1 हो जाएगा. Okay, and same goes for everyone else. Do I make sense? Can the DP states be reduced? Yes, they can be reduced, but for me, this is the most intuitive one. To be honest, the code can be simplified a lot, we are doing the same copy pasting again and again. Okay, so you can write a function for this and make the code make lot cleaner than this. But this is an online judge, we have no points for cleanliness, so copy pasting is a little bit easy for this. Okay, difficult to manage 40 dp and debugging is hard. Yep, but I debugged it last time. The code in the link seems to be incomplete. इनकम्प्लीट है ऐसा कुछ है देखो no it seems to be complete. Yep, it is complete. Okay. Okay, Vaya, thank you for nice explanation. Most welcome. Okay, so this can be optimized. Okay, to be honest, every code that I'm giving out there for in this editorial can be optimized a lot more. Like some of the most simple optimization can be that you can make use of macros. Okay, and make this code lot clean. Like pb can be done with something like pushback can be referred to as pb by using macros. Then you have something like mod, constant mod. You can all use a template and make this code look much simpler and easy to understand. But this won't be generic for everyone because most of you won't understand my template. The very next thing is that मैं उस वही एडिटोरियल देता हूँ. If I had sat for the contest, how would I have solved up this question? So whichever solution I'm providing, it might be a scenario that this might not be the most efficient one, and that's the beauty of an online judge. There is no points for extra optimization. If you are able to get an AC, you would be rewarded a point. But let's say me and my girlfriend. Okay, let's say my girlfriend wrote a code, very optimized code, and it is just 5 lines of code. It is very optimized, but she took a lot of time because of that optimization. So she took 45 minutes. I wrote a very redundant code. Okay, that is very long enough, not optimized, just able to surpass the AC, but I wrote it in 30 minutes. So I would be ranked above my girlfriend because, in spite of my code being redundant and not optimized, because that's the beauty of a contest. You just need to take the objective that I just need to quickly get an AC and move forward, because there is a thing known as time constraint. Okay, and no extra marks for optimization, no extra marks for cleanliness. So do all those in an interview, but not on a contest. No, it's incomplete. No, it is not complete. Okay, देख लेते हैं. So let me just send you the solution. Let me just copy the same thing again. Give you a new code link, and this should be. So quickly tell me. Yep, कर दिया Valentine. Yep, I did Valentine. Sorry, I forgot that you don't understand Hindi. I did it Valentine. So just quickly confirm. Okay, so I should be clear in this. Just quickly confirm this. I need to have my dinner. I'm very hungry at this point. It's 10. Now it's good. Thank you. Okay, सबका हो गया? Okay, so that's it for today. In the last stream, I got a lot of hit. Like I found some of the comments, like I didn't found it worthy enough to reply. Okay, like some people wrote I got a lot of hatred kind of thing, but I kind of ignored it. So that is not acceptable from if you are following me for a long time, because most of my streams are good enough. Some streams might be bad itself. Okay, so hope I don't get a lot of hatred in this post contest analysis. So that's it for today. Thank you for have a nice day. Thank you and have a nice day. So if you're watching this stream in the recorded version, feel free to like and comment on the video so that this work could be justified. Thank you everyone. Thank you.